What's good, everybody? Welcome yourselves back to another video of mine, and if you haven't joined my Discord already, please join it. The link is in the description for it. But anyways, topic of today is thin privilege, and the girl who's going to be talking about it is a radical feminist who doesn't just believe in women's rights. She's one of the feminists that believe women should have more rights than men, so I don't really see how that's equal, but I do support women getting rights. That's by all means, I support that, but she's going to be telling us what thin privilege is and why it's a bad thing. So without further ado, here's the video.
Today I wanted to talk about what is considered even a controversial subject within feminism, thin privilege. Before I start, I'm going to say I'm a thin person, I have thin privilege. I don't experience any form of fat phobia or fat shaming, so this is coming from a privileged perspective.
No, I actually disagree with that statement. When you're thin, you still get called names and you still get made fun of in a way, and it's not really that much different from being fat shamed or anything. Honestly, I would put it in the exact same category as it, because as a thin person myself, I have experienced name calling and whatever, but I mean, I don't really care because I'd rather be thin than fat, but I mean, I completely disagree with that last statement.
People in the West very clearly live in societies that glorify a specific type of body. That's the kind of body that's glorified in television, in movies, in advertising, basically any kind of visual media. This glorification of very specific body types affects everyone. It affects your self-esteem, it affects your own self-image, it affects the types of bodies that you think are acceptable and are attracted to. So a side effect of this glorification of very specific body types is the idea that fat bodies are unattractive, unappealing.
Yet, America is still one of the fattest countries in the world. Weird how that works. And if this actually was a true statement, then we would see way more people in the gym and we would see way less fat people in America. So what she said is completely false. Now, it could affect your self-esteem. If it affects your self-esteem so much, then it'll motivate you to go to the gym and burn off that fat.
On the opposite end of this, a lot of people argue against the existence of thin privilege because very thin bodies are also stigmatized in a sense. There's no end of very skinny people telling you that they've been made fun of, they've been called anorexic, they've been told to eat a sandwich. So because of those experiences, they don't experience thin privilege. And don't get me wrong, this type of body shaming absolutely exists, and it's not okay. It's not okay if you're shaming fat bodies, and it's not okay if you're shaming thin bodies. But I think this is a problem that needs to be viewed systemically rather than just based on interpersonal experiences.
So again, if you're fat, work out if you care that much about wanting to be thin. And she disapproved her entire argument by saying a lot of skinny people get made fun of and body shamed just as much as fat people. So if that's the case, then there is no such thing as thin privilege. And if we look at it systemically, like you say, then obviously they're going to idolize more skinny and fit people because they're not going to show people that it's okay to be fat because it's unhealthy to be fat. And yeah, there's disorders that can alter your ability to be thin and eating disorders and all this. Obviously, those still exist, but they're clearly going to idolize more fit and skinny people on television and movies because of the fact that it's way more healthy to be skinny.
I think one of the main privileges that thin people experience, and yes, I'm including very thin people, is that their weight doesn't exclude them from getting proper medical care. This is a very common experience where if someone is considered fat, they go into the doctor, and instead of focusing on the ailment that they're talking about, the doctor will say, "Oh, I think you need to lose some weight." You know, it could be completely unrelated to whatever symptoms they're having, but that's always the doctor's first choice. There's a higher mortality rate for fat people for many different diseases because they're discriminated against, because they're not taken seriously, because their symptoms are ignored.
Their symptoms are ignored. It's just the fact that they choose to eat McDonald's and eating fruit. It's not because the doctors refuse to give them certain medicine and clinical care. It's because of the fact that they're fat, and sometimes you physically cannot give it to them because they're too overweight, and it's a doctor. Clearly, they're going to tell you to lose weight if you're overweight or obese, simply because of the fact that your lungs, heart, organs, and every single thing about you would produce so much better results if you were skinnier. If you're a little bit overweight, you're fine. It's not like you're going to die the next day. I'm talking like my 500-pound life people. Those people are the people I'm talking about.
And while it's shitty to be a thin person who's told to eat a sandwich, they're never going to experience this kind of discrimination within the medical field simply for being very skinny.
That's also incorrect. If you're anorexic, doctors can actually refuse care because some of it might not be fit for you because of the fact that you're anorexic. But this also applies for overweight people as well, so it doesn't go just one way, it goes both ways.
Fat people are also more likely to be discriminated in the workplace. They're more likely to be viewed as lazy, or less likely to get hired for a job because of their weight.
That's because most of the time that someone's fat, it's because of the fact that they're lazy and don't work out or exercise.
Fat people are viewed as neglectful parents.
After she made that point, she kind of just rambled on for the rest of the video about stuff that she could do in the future for her channel. So that just wraps up this video as well. So if you enjoyed it, drop a like. If I made some points that you agreed with, drop a like again. And if I didn't make points or if I was wrong about something, leave a comment. And yeah, that's it. Peace.